Well, there you have it. A little bit of fourth quarter magic not going our way. Yeah. Ugh. Okay, I should probably start talking. It's been about 2 minutes for me to just kind of get myself together here. I'm getting to this a little late, so, you know. Tough loss. That's a tough loss, man. But I don't feel bad about it at all. Like, it's got me a little concerned for our defense, but Brock Purdy, gotta give credit to him. The Niners are a really good football team, and they showed today. I mean, and the Niners are still without George Kittle, Fred Warner, and Nick Bosa. Like, that Niners team gonna be a problem in the postseason. And for the NFC's sake, they better hope the Seahawks win next week, because then Seahawks get the 1 seed. Niners will be the top wild card. So, yeah, that sucks, man. It really sucks. But hey, fought to the very end. Very, very entertaining football game. Like, was it a really high quality game? Probably not. Strictly from a defensive standpoint, just because the defenses for both teams played really, really poorly. I'd say it probably wasn't one of the highest quality games we've seen this year. But in sheer entertainment value, it was up there. It didn't go farther than one score. Tied at 7, 14, 21, 28, and 35. I found a tweet. Hang on. Let's see. Let's see. Hey, both teams are throwing haymakers. Let's see. Let's see. Yeah, I don't know. This is all right. Let me find the tweet here. Let me just remember exactly what it is. Oh, yeah. So, here's the thing. The only other time in NFL history where an NFL game had been tied at 7, 14, 21-20, and 35. This one right here.
That's not going to get it done.
This one right here. Ravens, Broncos, the 2012 playoffs, and what would end up being a statement win on a Super Bowl run for the Baltimore Ravens. That's the only other time that's happened in the league's history. Pretty crazy, man. We're in the box score. Oh, I gotta resize this. Hold up. Make sure I get the field of view here. Yeah, there we go. We'll get the full box score out there. All right. Let me scoot over here. I'm just going to scoot my entire chair. That's probably a good idea so that I can be on the right side of this. Okay. Look. .5 completion percentage for Caleb Williams. I do not care. I've probably said that exact same thing a couple times this year. It does not matter to me that he went for 60% completion in this game. A couple drops on the final drive. Blah, blah, blah. Like, I don't know, man. 330 yards. That's his first 300-yard passing game of the year. 2 touchdowns, no picks. It's a 100 rate. It's a 100 rating. Most times, 38 points is going to win you games. letting up 42 points is unacceptable. The second time the Bears have done that this year. They had no answers for Christian McCaffrey. And because Christian McCaffrey was such a threat at all times, because he's, Christian freaking McCaffrey, one of the best skill position players in the NFL, it opened up the passing game. And so despite not having Kittle, the Niners were still able to do a lot of good things offensively. So, Brock Purdy went for 300 yards, 3 touchdowns and a pick. He also ran for 2 touchdowns. Second straight week with 5 total touchdowns. He threw for 5 last week. Niners put up 40 points in back-to-back games. I mean, last Monday against the Colts, I was like, oh, this is going to be a shootout, isn't it? It absolutely was. Absolutely was. Brock Purdy was doing anything he could. Doing whatever he wanted in this game. Bears had no answers for him. And Christian McCaffrey was also to do it, right? So, I don't feel bad about this loss at all. I'm not going to lie. I'm totally fine. This says a lot about the Bears' ability to get pressure to the quarterback. Because the fact that the Niners were able to run the ball and do whatever they could offensively says a lot about, and especially with Brock Purdy's ability to extend the play. So many times, the Bears had him dead to rights. Had a hand on him. Had a chance. Can't finish. That's been the Bears' biggest problem defensively, especially on the defensive line. Haven't been able to finish, right? It feels like they have this at least 2 times a game where someone on the defensive line gets either a hand or is falling down and kind of gets part of the quarterback but can't fully bring them down and they're able to escape. And then usually those plays end up being big hitters. Big hitters. So it's an execution thing where you got to get to the quarterback, man. If you can't get pressure on the quarterback and quarterbacks are able to do whatever the hell they want in the pocket or escape, roll to the left or the right, and just let an NFL receiver run a route for 5-6 seconds, they're going to get open. Like, it is very hard to play coverage for 6 seconds against an NFL receiver. They're going to get open at some point. So you got to make sure you put some pressure on the quarterback to make him throw in an accurate ball, or, better yet, tip it down the line of scrimmage. Like, there's got to be a lot of work done this offseason to beef up the defensive line, because it's just, they're simply not getting home. And that's the biggest weakness for this Bears team. Their run defense isn't good, and they can't get to the quarterback. And so they've got good players and playmakers in the linebacker and in the secondary position groups. They've got playmakers there. Jalen Johnston, TJ Edwards combined for a phenomenal read for a pick 6 on the first play of the ball game. You make your life easy. You make the secondary's life easier if you're able to get to the quarterback and put pressure on the quarterback more often than not. And so when Brock Purdy has 7 seconds to throw, like he did on that touchdown to, it was Juszczyk, if I'm correct. To Juszczyk. What do you want to do? What do you want? He had already run for 2 touchdowns. He's escaping out of the pocket. Austin Booker has a hand on him, can't finish. And then Andrew Billings is, again, big guy. He's a run stopper. He's not a guy that's going to get after the quarterback. So he's, of course, the one that's in that position. Brock Purdy's able to maneuver around him, which forces the linebackers to bite on the potential run for Brock Purdy, and it leaves Juszczyk open for a touchdown. Like, it is... something's got to happen defensively going forward. Frankly, the way to beat this Bears defense, have a dynamic running back that can both run the football, get outside the hashes, and catch the football and get outside the hashes, like Christian McCaffrey, because it opens up absolutely everything in the passing game. Opens up everything else. And it allows Brock Purdy to throw to a lot of wide open receivers when the defensive line cannot get to the quarterback. Simple as that. Brock Purdy with a 118 rate. And it wasn't just the Niners were scoring. They weren't scoring quickly. They were taking long drives. Bears struggled to stop on third down. Like, the Niners, let's see. Third down efficiency. Yeah, 7 of 10. Bears started 0 for 3. And ended up with us and ended the rest of the game 6 for 9. That's not bad. Got to be better. They got to start faster. They had a slow start to this one, which is kind of hilarious because they scored 38 points. But, they did not have the ball a lot in the first half, and they did a very good job at holding on to the football in the second half. They took their sweet time marching down the field, and they were converting for touchdowns until they had a chance to take the lead, which they settled for a field goal, which, honestly, I thought was going to be the difference in the game. I just didn't think it was going to be the difference in this way, right? I really was convinced that the Niners had let too much time on the clock, and they nearly did. I had a feeling that the field goal was going to matter a lot, just because it creates the imbalance now that this game was incredibly balanced. Again, tied at 7, 14, 21, 28, and 35. So, it came down to which defense was going to make a stop. And at the end of the day, the Niners were able to do just enough to hold off the Bears' offense. But I am feeling pretty good after this loss, because that is a very, very good Niners team. And this Bears team could have easily just gotten blown out after that touchdown to start. After letting up the Niners taking 2 touchdown drives, Bears went 3 and out twice. Like, that game could have gotten out of their hand real fast, but they kept throwing punches. They kept punching back. They kept throwing haymakers offensively. This one's going to fall at the hands of the defense. They're going to have a lot of work to do. And, this could be one of those moments where it's like, all right, there might be a bit of a defense a bit of a blueprint to beat this defense pretty well. But, you know, at the end of the day, it just has to come to the defensive line, getting pressure on the quarterback, and making it easier for the secondary and the linebackers to do their job. Because the linebackers at several points throughout the game were so concerned with Christian McCaffrey because he was doing whatever he wanted that they were kind of sending both Edwards and Edmonds to cover Christian McCaffrey, which of course frees up a lot of open space for everyone else. So I want to see what happens. Hold up, we're good. Hopefully we're back live here. Oh my gosh. Can I get the right one? Oh, I'm literally right here. Hang on. Let me make sure that we're all good here. Okay. Good. Let's get back to the box score. Swifty 9K, like I will say, not great for the running offense. That's not a great defensive line they went up to, especially when it comes to getting pressure on the quarterback. But guess what? Robert Saleh drew up a couple big defensive plays and a couple big defensive schemes late in that ball game when they needed to. The defensive scheme on the last play was great, and it forced a young quarterback to improvise and kind of throw it into a bit of panic mode, right? With the unblocked rusher on the left side, who very easily could have gotten his paw up on a pass early, had to shake him, buy some time. No one was getting open, and anyone who was going to get open felt like the gap was going to shrink too fast. Like, it just came down to one play, and the Niners had a good defensive scheme. They're going to be looking at that one in the film room, and I trust that this coaching staff will find a way to run something better the next time they do that. And again, I'm not super frustrated at this loss, mainly because this team has succeeded so well in late game scenarios. It kind of feels like a little bit of balancing out, right? Reminding us all that these teams and these players are mortal. You know, it's not like they can do no wrong, right? So I think that there is some takeaways from this. And it's clearly showing that this Bears defense is incredibly beatable. Again, 42 points allowed twice this season. And they have been dealing with a lot of injuries, a lot of backups having to play. It feels like they're just getting healthy. And Kyle Shanahan dialing it up, man. It's 3 games out of the bye for the Niners. They've had 3 games out of their bye because they had the Week 14 bye. 37 points, 48 points, and 42 points. So it's like the Niners offense can do no wrong right now. It just comes down to the Bears not being able to get the one more stop that they needed to put themselves in a better position to win this game. So, I don't know, man. I'm not feeling too bad because, that being said, the offense looked phenomenal. Slow start, which not very happy about that. I'd like to see them get off to a faster start. That's kind of been a trend late in this season where the offense gets off to slow starts. But after 2 3-and-outs, they were clicking. They were humming. Caleb Williams. All right. We good? I just saw we disconnected again. All right. Anyways, yeah. Burden and Loveland are becoming incredibly reliable options in the passing game. Of course, they're rookies. They're going to have their moments, but the 3 leading receivers for the Bears are all rookies. Luther Burden, Colston Loveland, and Jahdae Walker. Like, it's insane. Unfortunately, after the great game DJ Moore had last week, he was put on Diamador Lenore, who has been very good this year. Diamador Lenore was not targeted very much at all. So DJ Moore was not getting a ton of attention, just one catch for the 7 yards. So yeah, Edmonds and Edwards leading the way tackle wise, very nice. It's what you expect out of linebackers. Hey, Sweat and Tryon Shoyinka, four solo tackles on 5 total, both not bad. Yeah, I don't know. Torrey Taylor had a nice game. Had that really, really nice punt that pinned Sky Moore inside the 10 as he apparently didn't decide to call for a fair catch and was, promptly blown up. So, yeah, I don't know, man. Ricky Pearsall was finding his way open. Jake Tonjes was a safety blanket. Jawan Jennings didn't do much, but he had the big touchdown to put the Niners in front. So, there's only so much you could say about that. And then Christian McCaffrey, man, he was a dog. Brock Purdy was also a really, really, really good quarterback in this game. And it just makes you kind of bitter a little bit. Not necessarily because the Bears specifically are bitter, but just as an NFL fan, and you look at teams like the Niners who make a completely idiotic decision. A terrible decision to trade 3 first-round picks to the Dolphins to trade up 3 spots to get Trey Lance in 2021. He starts about 5 games for him before getting traded. And so all of a sudden, the Niners feel like they're in a bit of a hole because they drafted Jimmy Garoppolo as a replacement. Now they got to deal with Jimmy Garoppolo again. And then all of a sudden, they get Brock Purdy with the last pick in the draft, Mr. Irrelevant, and he just walks in and owns the damn place. Is just a star overnight. And so you're just like, how in the world does a team that executes one of the worst trade-ups in draft history, 3 first round to get Trey Lance, like, oh my gosh, and then to get Brock Purdy, that is insane luck, and that makes you a little bit bitter, especially when it being a team like the Niners that has just been very good over the years. They've had their years where they have just stunk, but it feels like the Niners really aren't an average team right now. Like the last decade, it's been the Niners have either been a terrible team or they've been a really good team. So we're in one of those years where the Niners are a really good team. Yeah, John Lynch is, I don't know, man, but to think that the Niners are 12-4 and they've had so many injuries, Mac Jones holding down the fort for as much as he's had to this year. They've played without Kittle. They've been playing without Fred Warner almost all year. Nick Bosa's been out. Like, they have played so much football without their star players, and I don't think they've played a single game with those guys together. Christian McCaffrey, I'm sure, has missed time as well. So, the Niners, they know what they're doing. At the end of the day, Kyle Shanahan needs to get it done and win a Super Bowl to kind of, cement himself as a 49er head coach to be remembered positively, because his legacy right now is 2 10-point leads blown in the Super Bowl, and that's really his legacy. So, there's a lot of writing, and we get a really exciting game Saturday night. The Seahawks-Niners is going to be a very, very good football game. So, I'm excited to see that. Seahawks defense is much more locked down than the Bears defense has been this year, but the Seahawks defense is also a lot healthier, and they've got a lot of better players on the defensive line. So, yeah. Hawks got killed. Oh, my gosh. Yeah, how did they beat the Stars last night? I was watching the end of that game. Video coming out on New Year's Eve, by the way, for the Hawks. We'll talk more about their win against the Stars and then how they promptly got embarrassed tonight by the Penguins. So, I don't know. Bears defense concerning. They've got, I think they have 6 picks in the upcoming draft right now. I would not be surprised if they went defense with all 6. They're probably going to find a way to pick an offensive guy. But I'd say at least 5 or 6 draft picks got to be defensive guys. Because that feels like the area where your team can grow the most. And I think that there's a little bit of depth at some of these defensive positions. So the Bears need to find someone, especially on the defensive line. I really do think the first pick the Bears make in the 2026 NFL Draft should be on the defensive line. And Brock Purdy had all day to throw. Like, that's the thing. The one way to make it super easy for any opposing quarterback in the NFL is just give him time to throw. And, it was 2 defensive lines that had not gotten a ton of sacks on quarterbacks all year long against the 2 quarterbacks who have had the longest time to throw in the NFL this season, which is evidence of being able to extend plays. Brock Purdy and Caleb Williams. And guess what? Both guys had a lot of time to throw the football in this game. Neither were really running for their lives. And honestly, I wouldn't hate if Ryan Poles decided to trade or sign a defensive lineman in free agency as well. It'd be a huge pickup. Same thing like Myles Garrett. There's probably some other defensive lineman that's going to be on the market. I would not be surprised if Ryan Poles ends up picking the phone up, right? We always went to the offseason with the O-line. It was... What was the one position group that the Bears needed to fix last offseason? The offensive line. What did Ben Johnson do the second he got to Chicago? Fixed the offensive line, made a couple big signings, and Tooney, Dahlman, Pro Bowlers. Jackson has been solid. He's had his moments, but he's been solid. And so it's like, I wouldn't be surprised if they attack the D-line. They're probably going to just end up signing and drafting a young prospect on the defensive line. They're probably going to draft, I don't know. Who'd you draft? Probably, I'm trying to think about, like, it all depends on also who the Bears end up losing, right, in the offseason. Depends on who the Bears lose. And they're able to, So, I don't know. That should the Bears play their starters next week? I don't know. It's really tough. Because, well, you could say there's definitely something to play for. The Bears, with a win, get the 2 seed. If they lose, they risk falling down to the 3 seed. But at this point, I don't think there is an easy opponent for the Bears in the playoffs. I don't think there is an easy opponent. Because most likely the 6th seed is going to go to Los Angeles. I would say no, because no matter what, you're going to be at home. Yeah, you're going to be at home in the... Like, that's the thing. They've clinched the division. The only thing that could change after their game next week, this time next Sunday, would be that they're playing as the 3 seed as opposed to the 2 seed. That's the only thing that changes. And if the Washington Commanders go into Philadelphia and pull off an upset, they're locked. The Bears are the 2 seed regardless of what happens against Detroit. So it depends on if you want to get some guys rest. And I'm not going to lie, there might be some guys that they want to rest. It depends on how... I think there are probably some guys that are going to get some rest next week. I don't think that the Bears will play absolutely everyone. If someone is dealing with a bit of an injury that they don't want to risk becoming a problem, then maybe they end up playing, setting them out. But I don't think that they're going to, sit Caleb Williams for Tyson Bagent. I don't think that Swift or Monungai are going to sit. The way the defense played tonight, if they play LA, that can't happen. Absolutely not. I am not too worried because, again, Kyle Shanahan is a very, very smart offensive play caller. He knows what he's doing. And, this Bears defense
only allowed 16 points last week and held the Packers to 0-5 in the red zone. But the Niners could do no wrong in the red zone in this game. So it's like you have this duality here where they went 5 for 5. The Packers went 0 for 5 last week in the red zone. The Niners go 5 for 5 tonight. So, it's the duality of the Bears defense this season, which is kind of the irony of the history of this franchise, been built on their identity on defense and running the football. The strength this season has been the offense. They have been the better half. They lead the league in turnover margin. The Bears defense gets a lot of takeaways, but that's really what they do best. That's really the best thing that they do. The defense as a unit is not even close to a top 10 unit in the league. They get a lot of takeaways, but they do let up a lot of yards, a lot of chunk plays, let up a lot of points at times. Like, there are several reasons to why I would be concerned with this defense. And I think that is the main point of emphasis going forward. So, I don't know, man. I feel pretty good about the team as a whole. I feel just very interesting. I just feel a little interested in how things going forward. What they do this week. I don't know. Oh, my God. What happens if the Rams win tomorrow and Sunday and the Seahawks lose? Let's see. Let me see. Let's see. Okay, here we go. We'll do this. Here we go. So here we go. Here is the NFL playoff machine. I'm pulling up the ESPN site here. So let's just say this. Let's just say, so what are you saying? If the Rams win tomorrow, they're 12-4. And they stay as the 6th seed because they lose tiebreaker to the Niners. If the Seahawks lose to the Niners, San Francisco is the number 1 seed. The NFC playoffs go through Santa Clara. If the Rams win, Seattle drops to the 6th seed. There it is. Obviously, if the Bears win, let's see. And then obviously, if the Bears lose and the Eagles win, right? If the Bears lose, but the Commanders also lose. If the Bears lose, but also the Eagles lose, the Bears are the 2 seed. If the Bears lose and the Eagles win, they are the 2nd seed. So there is a scenario where the Bears host the Seahawks on Wild Card Weekend. It would be the Rams winning out against the Falcons and the Cardinals, which is very likely. That is actually pretty likely. They'll get both of those games. If the Niners beat the Seahawks in that case, the Niners get the first round. They get the top seed. The Seahawks fall to the 6. The only thing that changes is now the Bears would have to lose and the Eagles would have to win for them to fall out of the 2 seed. And that would mean we would get Philadelphia, Green Bay again as the 2-7 matchup in the NFC, and then it would be Bears, Seahawks in Chicago. And hey, it would be a bit of fate. The Bears got their last playoff win against Seattle. So it'd be kind of interesting. But that would be very interesting. I don't want us to lose next week, but if that scenario does happen, I won't complain. I agree. I don't want the Bears to lose next week, but if they end up losing, then
obviously, yeah, it's just going to have to be the case. Whoa, now this is interesting. Just picking a couple matchups here. Let's see, is there any other one I'm missing? Well, there's a path for the clear, actually. So yeah, this is what happens right now. There's a lot to still sort out here. There are 5 spots in the NFC that are still up for grabs, and we still don't know exactly who is going to be where. The AFC is kind of ridiculous. The only thing that we know is going to happen is the winner of Pittsburgh-Baltimore is going to be the 4 seed. So, while there might not be a ton of playoff berths on the line, and really the only playoff berths that are on the line are the NFC South and AFC North division titles. The wild cards are all set. There's a lot of playoff positioning to decide here in Week 18. And that's probably why the Week 18 schedule has more late window games than morning window games. I feel like if the Bears played Seattle, they would put that on Monday night. So, yeah, again, let's just say that the Rams win tomorrow, because that seems to be likely. That seems like what you would expect. And then you go, we'll say the Niners end up beating the... But here, let's go with the Niners beat the Seahawks. So the Panthers win the NFC South. We'll say the Texans beat the Colts. Let's pick a couple of these, quote-unquote meaningless games. So the Packers beat the Vikings. Jags... I'll take the Raven. I don't know. I'll just pick the Steelers here because it doesn't really matter there. All right, so there's the Rams. So then, again, what really comes down to is the Bears beating the Lions and the Eagles beating... Yeah, Chris Collinsworth tonight as well. Just had to mention him. Dude, it was only a matter of time. Anytime some quarterback rolls out of the pocket, extends the play near the goal line for about 5 seconds, and then is able to make some crazy throw to get into the end zone, or buy enough time to find a guy wide open, it's always going to. It's the Mahomes comparisons are always going to be there. But yeah. So that's the idea here, right? That's what's going to happen. So it's like the NFC West is crazy because there is a chance that the Seahawks get the 1 seed, but could also fall down to the 6 seed. That's what's insane about this thing. Forget the division and being division champs in that division. You might not even be the top wild card. Being the 6th seed would be a truly terrible draw for whoever finishes 3rd in the NFC West, because you don't get the bye and you're not going on the road to play an NFC South division winner who could potentially have a losing record. So, it's... Sam Darnold, man, it was the same thing last year with Minnesota. I mean, that's true. This is the time of the year for Sam Darnold to kind of prove a lot of people wrong, right? Because we're in this situation again this year where he's had a very good season. The team he's playing for has won a buttload of games. And now it comes down to playing for a division title, de facto division title, next Saturday in prime time in front of a national audience, and then going into the playoffs potentially as a wild card again on the road. If this whole scenario happens too, the 6th seed in the NFC will be 13-4. The top 3 teams will all play in the NFC West. Woo, baby. That's true. Jackson Smith-Njigba has been amazing this year. He has been outstanding. And remember, guys, this is the other thing as well. With the Bears already having the NFC North clinched, they will be playing on the road against whoever wins the NFC West this year. Which, again, probably does not look like the Rams can win the NFC North. I think that has ran its course, because even with the Rams winning both their last 2 games, doesn't matter which way this thing goes, it's going to be San Francisco or Seattle. The loser, if the Rams win both games, their last 2 games, will be the 6th seed. That's what's at stake there, which is insane. So, yeah. That's what's going to happen. So, I don't know, man. This is going to be tight. This is coming down to the wire. It's been a while. This is like the first time ever I've experienced like Week 18 playoff seeding, all that wonderful stuff. Like, and then they were in control of their own destiny going to Week 17, where they either could beat the Packers and clinch a spot, or hang on, we good? Are we good? Been doing that a little bit in this stream. All right, I think we're good. We're fine. Where the Bears had to either beat the Packers or needed the Cardinals to lose to the Rams. Cardinals lost to the Rams, so even though the Bears lost in the last week of the year, they got into the playoffs. This is different. They already clinched their spot, but now the only thing that changes is they could drop down to the 3 seed if they lose and the Eagles win. That's it. Seeing Alex DeBrincat and Patrick Kane still being buds in Detroit. It's frustrating, but it shows that the Hawks ownership did not want to keep the guys that Patrick Kane liked playing with, because he went to go play with Panarin and DeBrincat since he left with Chicago. Simple as that. Guys, they didn't keep the guys that he wanted, and that sucks. But it's how it is. Anyways. Yeah, you can mess around with the scenarios here. So, tonight's loss hurt me. How so? I'm not feeling too hurt about this one. I'm feeling pretty good going into Week 18. I think that this is one of the better losses that they could have taken. I'm not going to lie. Like, yeah, there's concerns about the defense, but the defense has been the weaker half of the ball for the Bears all year long, honestly. So, seeing the Bears play well offensively and hang with them and, return blows after they're giving up blows is something that we haven't seen a lot of Bears teams do. So, I will say that was very refreshing. Would have been awesome if Caleb's able to hit that final pass? Absolutely. And we're in a different scenario. But, yeah. Niners are a really good team, man. Again. Like, I had a feeling that it was like the only reason the Niners were a bad football team last year was because they the only reason why the Niners were a bad team this year because the injuries that they had piled up too much. They have played really, really well through all the injuries they've had this year. So, defense dominated the Eagles, so I hope they're able to get some confidence back. Yeah, agreed. I'm just really interested to see what they decide to do next week. If they decide to play starters, trying to kind of try a couple things, see if they can get into the playoff, see if they can build some great momentum going to the playoffs, or if they're like,
We don't want any more tape out there. If we get, because the 3 teams that they could draw would be Green Bay, Seattle, and San Francisco. The most likely option is Green Bay. That is the most likely outcome. Because the only way they don't play Green Bay is if they lose to the Lions and the Eagles beat the Commanders. And then you're the 3 seed, and it depends on who wins Saturday night for the NFC West title, right? That's what it comes down to then. So it depends on what the coach. So it's like a really interesting scenario because, like, it's a tough matchup regardless. Like, the NFC is a tough conference, and it is a tough out. I mean, genuinely, this year is a perfect example of why going to the 7-team format was not necessarily a bad decision, in my opinion. Because we're in a position now where we're getting possibly, let me do this. Oh my gosh. So many things change here in this scenario. There is a reality where there are 7 12-win teams in the AFC this year. Or excuse me, 6, but the 7th seed is a 12-win team. There is a possibility that happens. Which I think is insane. It really is anybody's year. Like, talk about jumping back to the mid-2010s. Seattle, New England, Denver. Those teams dominating the league. San Francisco. Like, yeah. So, it sets up a very interesting Week 18. While there's the 2 division championship games. NFC South, AFC North. Outside of that, no playoff spots are up for grabs. Everybody is, all the wild card spots are clinched. That's kind of the deal. Oh, okay. Actually, there is a possibility where the Bears play the Rams in the wild card round. So there's actually an opportunity where that happens. So there's 4 different teams that the Bears could play. And again, the most likely is Green Bay, with them locked in the 7th seed, and the Bears needing to lose and the Eagles to win to find a way to the 3rd seed. If they get to the 3rd seed, it's going to be ridiculous to figure out who they end up playing. So, I don't know. Spent a lot of time here. More so because it's like, it was a really entertaining football game to watch. Again, I don't know if I'd say it was the highest quality. Just from how poorly the defense is played. But yeah. I don't know. Any like questions that you guys have? Any other like ideas you want throw out there? Talking points. I got a little bit I can spend here. If not, we can end this a little early. It is a late game, so I'd be more than okay doing that, so I can get to my reaction and get that thing uploaded so that you guys can watch that in the morning. Other than that, I mean, like, this is a really fun game. Let's see, is this? Yeah. This is okay. Wow, this is insane, man. There is a lot that can change. A lot that can change at the end of the year here. So, yeah, I don't know. Caleb played a pretty nice game. Couldn't get the last throw to go. Ah, shucks. I'm not too concerned about it yet. Again, if it's going to come down to this, you want it, and for the Bears to fail, you want it to be in this game against a tough Niners team, a really good Niners team, in a shootout where Caleb Williams played very well, and there really aren't many stakes here. The only thing that the Bears were playing for were a chance to play for the number 1 seed next week. That was it. And so, we're staring down the barrel of a very entertaining conclusion to the 2025-26 regular season, because, hey, when we get together next week, it's 2026. We get our chance to enjoy the new year. So it's kind of crazy that the year's kind of coming to an end here. So yeah, I don't know, man. Tough loss, but I don't feel too bad. They hung with them. That is a tough Niners team. I don't know. Seeing the offense put up 38 points is very nice, in my opinion. I think it again, because the most likely outcome is Bears-Packers rubber match take 3 at Soldier Field. Both defenses did not play well this week. Bears defense didn't look good, and the Packers defense did not look good as well. Both teams were run all over. Derrick Henry had an unbelievable game yesterday. Unbelievable game. Christian McCaffrey had a great game today. Phenomenal game. So, there'll be a lot of analysis to talk about. There'll be a lot of things to discuss. If there are no more questions or no more things people want to discuss, no more talking points for the evening, I will log off here and get that reaction video going. So we got that in the morning for you. And Hawks video out on Wednesday, on New Year's Eve. Great win yesterday in Dallas, only to follow it up with an absolute stinker the next day against the Penguins. So I don't know. We'll see what happens, and we'll see where they go going forward. Can you tell I'm tired a little bit? Been yawning a lot. So, I don't know. I'm gonna end stream here. So thank you all for hopping in here actually late on a Sunday night. If you got work in the morning, hopefully you can get some well-deserved rest. If you don't, enjoy the time off with family for the new year, all that wonderful stuff. And so that's what's on the schedule. Got a Hawks video coming out Wednesday, reaction video here coming out tomorrow morning, And then, of course, the reaction video coming out next week. And again, we're doing the Hawks videos weekly here, even though they suck again. I've got to admit, much rather be doing one video a week as opposed to a video every couple days. So, yeah, that's the case. Thanks for hanging in here and staying up late to chatting about this one. Fun game. Playoff machine. There are a ton. We still have no idea what's going to happen with the Bears and who they'll be playing wild card weekend. But again, it looks like most likely they will be playing the Green Bay Packers, which, I don't know about you, scares the bejesus out of me. So that's it. If you want to watch the reaction video come out this morning, or tomorrow morning, this morning, whatever, stay tuned. It should drop soon. And then, yeah, enjoy your new year. And we'll reconvene next week when the Bears know who they're playing. And, yeah. Anyways, that's all for me. I will see you all in the next one.